Hello, welcome to the youth segment of the Sage. I'm guessing you missed these faces, right? Well, we're back and we're diving in more into our discussions of 2023 elections. In our last episode, we spoke about how young people are vital in the 2023 elections. We spoke about how we need to come together as young people to influence positively what happens in 2023. Well, in this new series, we're diving in more. We're talking more about the importance of us mobilizing ourselves with one voice and with one movement. We're talking more about what to expect as regards the electoral process. How do you go about voting? Do you have your PVCs? We're talking about those in diaspora. They say they can't vote, but what role can they play? Then we're talking coordination. But the bottom line is that every young Nigerian, through this platform, is going to get every information they need to empower themselves come 2023. They're not giving us the table to talk. We're not really being involved in what's going on. But we are saying no. We're going to put ourselves in there one way or the other. So stay with us. It's going to be a journey, but a journey worth your time. We'll be back. So yes, I'm going to introduce my guests again before we go into the first part of our discussion. Again, there are no new faces. I'm going to start on my right, Mr. Eric Ochibo. He's the CEO, St. James Pont. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we also have on the show today the CEO, Sam's Foods and Spices, Mrs. Ngozi Roland Onu Egubuke.
Thank you.
And to my far left is Miss Rachel Bob, my lawyer, and CEO, Healing Hand Spa.
Thank you for having me today.
Welcome. And also, definitely not the least, she's a media personnel by an amazing young Nigerian passionate about this country, Miss Chinelo Ezekwe. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, you've met our discussants. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why it's important for you as a young person, why it's important for us as young people, young Nigerians, to be vital parts of the 2023 elections. We said in the last episode that we shot that we need to come together. But why is it important for us to come together? What influence does it hold when all young Nigerians in every 36 states come out with one voice and say, we want a credible candidate. We want positive change. And it's going to start with us. Why is it important when you have that kind of movement? So we're going to be discussing that in today's episode. So I'm going to turn to, of course, the man on the scene, Eric.
Oh, yes.
Why is it important?
Thank you very much. We cannot emphasize enough why it is very important for Nigerian youths to come together ahead of this 2023 election. Number one, Nigeria is the largest black nation in the world and the 7th largest country in the world, most populated country in the world. We have, as at 2020, Nigeria's population was estimated to be about 206 million persons, Nigeria. And this population is growing at 2.6%. It then means that in another 25 years or 30 years, the population of Nigeria will be up to 412 million persons.
Wow.
Now, of this population, 70% are young people below the age of 30 and 42 below the age of 15. So this is a political asset and an economic asset anywhere, anytime in the world. As it stands today, nobody can become the president of Nigeria without having the support of the young people. Nobody can emerge president of Nigeria without 70% of the population. It's absolutely not possible. So 2023 is who the youth decide to become president that wins. And so if we agree together as a group of persons, as young people, Because this affects us directly. Nigeria, if you ask me, is a youth nation.
Youth, yeah.
Because a country that has 70% of its population as young people is a youthful country. And so it's our country. And we should decide what happens to us. We should be on the table. As far as I'm concerned, the youth are the major stakeholders if it comes to discussing Nigeria. Because it's democracy anyway. And, it's a game of numbers. We've got the numbers. And we should decide who is president, who is governor, who is local government chairman and council, as it were.
Yeah.
We should decide whoever occupies that office, that will protect our interests. Again, politics is about interest. That will protect our interests. Because we cannot afford to have somebody in office that will not care about our education. Students have been in school for only God knows how long. As of today, we don't know when
that has to strike
when that will go back. There's a court judgment today that says that, yesterday, that says that they should go back to school. And I heard the ASO president asking, what do you expect a doctor to do when you force him to treat a patient?
Wow.
No.
He just asked that question. And who are those affected as far as this is concerned? Nigerian young persons. This is just to mention one out of many other sectors. Should you go to security? Should you go to the economy? Who are those who are majorly affected? The youths. Those who have enjoyed this country, the very aged ones, our parents, they had free education. They had good naira to dollar equivalent or comparison. They had the best of lives. But now it's our turn. We can't be proud of anything. And we can no longer continue to sit behind and cross our legs and say, oh, our votes won't count. Those lies have come they've come and gone. It is now time for us to come to the stage and make the decisions that will favor us, that will change our story, that will suit us. There is no sector of the economy of the country we are going to talk about that Nigerian youths are doing very well, except for entertainment. And this is because we've taken the bull by the horn in that sector.
True.
The time they will tell us that, you're not good enough, you can't do this thing. No, I'm sorry. If we are not good enough, the entertainment industry wouldn't be what it is today. It means that Nigerians can be CEOs, we can manage things, and we can run our affairs.
I'll come back to you. Rachel, as regards yes, we have the numbers. It shows our importance. And also, we are being the most affected. So we need to speak up, truthfully. But why come together? Is that enough cogent reason?
With what Eric said, we are the ones that are mostly affected by the decisions of the government and those in power. So if you come together and say, okay, now we are seeing politicians, the campaign will start. And they already started rolling out their manifestos. Everybody's promising things. Oh, when I come, I'm going to give you. Right now, Nigerians don't need you to tell us, we'll give you electricity. That is a very basic. And you don't come and tell me, you will give me light. I expect you. I expect it.
It's a right.
It's a right. I don't need you to be telling me. Give me something very important. So if we come out in our numbers, we are able to hold these people accountable. You say, okay, you did this. Like, take the case of the citizens in Sri Lanka. They had enough. They were like, no, enough of bad government. So I'm telling everybody, come out, vote. Your PVC is your right to tell every person in power. You told me this, you promised me this, do it. Do it. We can't keep letting them just ride over us.
That's true. In the next episode, we're going to be talking extensively about the PVC. But Rachel has spoken about accountability. But I'm wondering, in some countries where they still have dictators in Africa, and they say such countries are better than Nigeria in quotes, and they said one person can decide the voice of many. Why should we as Nigerians say, no, young people decide, not one person, not two people, not a cabal?
As far as Nigeria is concerned, I would say those who are most affected, like we all agree, are the youth. Those who are the future, the leaders of tomorrow are the youth. So it's time to take that leadership. We don't need to wait till tomorrow to start the leadership. It's now time for us to determine who we give that mantle to hold on until we are ready. So it's not enough to sit down and shout, we want change, we want change, we want change. It's time to create that change we demand. And one person cannot do this job.
Not at all.
We have to come together as a group, because there's power, when one person talks, they feel they can silence the person. But there's power in coming together to form a strong, formidable force and have one voice. Because the moment these leaders, these our parents, like he said, the moment they see that these children have grown, they now have a voice. They don't just have a voice, but they have one voice. Of course, they will try to penetrate from different angles. But when they see that this voice is not, they will have to succumb at some point. They will definitely have to succumb. So it's time for us to take steps. Like she said, it's not a time to sit down and be strategic. It's time to do. They say verb is action word, right? It's now time for us to carry that verb out when it comes to power and choosing leaders in our country.
That's true. Chinelo.
Well, they've actually said it all. Everybody has touched every important part of why we should come together. Like Ngozi said, you remind me of this Igbo expression that says Igwebike, meaning that, might is, strength. When you people are a lot. It's harder to silence. That NSAS in 2020 is just the clearest indication of what a multitude of people with the same goal, with the same ideology can actually do. Yes, it ended, people lost their lives and everything, but it sent, something to the federal government that things are changing. This is not, it's not what we used to have before. Yes.
Children have grown.
Exactly. Things are changing. And again, another benefit of social media, once you're on your phone, you're seeing these things, you're actually encouraged by, you see a lot of clips, and gone are the days where there was no social media where people just say things like what you said, manifestos, they go about, share things and everything. All those things are changing. Where people go and say this today and then say another one tomorrow, they place it side by side for you and say, see what you said now and see what you're doing. Thanks to social media, we can actually trace, where they're coming from and how to arrange our thoughts, arrange ourselves to be able to just really ask them critical questions. Like this manifesto, it's just like it's Nigeria, but baby steps, right? Because they are supposed to just come and face us. When they finish their manifesto, we youths should actually ask them critical questions on the spot, no doctoring and everything. I'm a media person and I know what goes on in Nigeria. It's not hidden that any big personality that comes to talk in the radio station, especially government radio stations, they actually have this as doctor. They have these things where you send them questions, you're going to ask them before they call. Right? Yeah, so they are prepared. So they are, so that is not the kind of thing we need. We need leaders, intelligent people that will come on the spot and answer. Come on the spot. But gradually we'll get there.
Not to play the devil's advocate now, but we've spoken that we have the numbers, right? That we are the most affected. We deserve accountability. But as a young, I'm saying it from my own experience, as a young person looking at what happened in NSAS, what do you tell a young person that is scared? Somebody, an average young Nigerian, would rather not get involved because psychologically we've been made to think that at the end of the day, what they want to do, that phrase, what they want to do, they will still do. How do you tell an average young person who is probably scared, who is just thinking of how to get his daily food and avoid issues, that he has a role to play? A broom can't stand alone, right? Yes. One strand can't stand alone. Everybody needs to come together. How do you explain to that average young person that in the midst of your fears, your voice matters? You need to be part of this movement.
Okay, thank you very much. It's okay to be scared. It's a natural instinct for anybody to be scared. But they say courage is not the absence of fear, but it's what you do in the face of the fear. One of Nigeria's senator will say, if I talk, I will die. If I don't talk, I will die. I'd rather say the truth and die.
Nobody's dying.
You know, yeah, but nobody's dying. But I'm just trying to quote that Nigerian senator who said that. It then means that as a Nigerian youth, it's okay to be scared. Yeah, yes, it's okay to be scared. But if you don't do anything in line with the school of thought of the senator, you will die. If you don't do anything, you decide to cross your leg, you are either not safe anyway. So you rather do something that could change this situation and be saved, or than to sit down, cross your leg and not do anything because you're scared. So, and this change has come to stay. Whether you are scared or not, it's going to happen.
Yes, it's
And
in
you
the
are-
air.
Yes, it's in the air. Those in power, those in government already know, look, our time here, our rent is expired. The quit notice is set. The feeling is there. They know about it. So as time goes on, everybody's going to come along. But if you are scared, don't be scared. Don't worry. They say the powerful cannot be mightier than the multitude. So somebody might be powerful. He may have the barrel of the gun and all that. But you cannot be mightier than the multitude. And the multitude is 70% of Nigeria's population, the young people. Don't be scared.
And to add to what he said, Nigeria, we're in a democratic system. So, and then, like I said before, social media. So it's actually harder for you to, for any politician, anybody that is aggrieved or what you're saying, to just come out and, you get missing or hurt you.
But it
right?
has happened, actually.
Yeah, it does happen, but it's actually harder now. Like he said, their rent has actually expired. I like that expression. Like, their rent has actually expired, so just marking time to actually go, right? So, like he said, we should not. The democratic system means that you have a right, you have a voice, you have a right to express yourself, you have a right to go to social media, fundamental human right to actually say what you want to say, or no matter irrespective of who is involved or anything. So, and then again, you can't just use because people die at war and you will not go to war when you're aggrieved. People will die, right? But this for a cause, because long term, if a youth is scared, now, okay, you're still hungry, there's insecurity, everything is happening to you. Then if you don't do anything, the statistics that is getting worse, actually. Things will keep deteriorating. Like he said, our parents enjoyed a lot of, things. Even as of then, they were complaining that Nigeria hasn't never been united, colonial this, colonial that. But who knew that in the next 20, 30 years, it's actually going to be worse. Right? So it's going to be worse. So now you can imagine where you're being scared now. What will happen in the next 30 years? I mean, maybe Nigeria will disappear from the map. But that's the thing where you just zero your mind that, you're already at the ground. Anybody on the ground fears no fall. You're already down there. So the only way to go is up.
Yeah.
So fight your way through.
Of course, most definitely.
For me, really, I think we have really passed that stage of fear. Because even to the smallest of Nigerians have started feeling the pain of what we are talking about, of what we're going through. A child, for instance, who the mom gives maybe 15 naira to go to school and buy snack, will probably go to school today and don't see anything to buy tangible 15 naira. So now everybody is feeling the pinch. So everybody needs to now understand that they have a right to choose the next leader. It's no longer those days where we sit down and say, make them go vote. Vote. See, they have conditioned us mentally to feel that our votes don't count.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It was a deliberate action. So because we were brought up, or we've come to understand that our vote no they count, our vote no they count, so everybody just relaxes. But no, your vote counts.
If your vote doesn't count, why did they do vote buying?
Do you understand?
Have you thought about it? Why is there vote buying if your vote doesn't really count?
Do you understand it? So your vote counts.
I was even going to ask on that because you see, we always say election time is the time to make more money. So you're telling a young person who they are ready to pay 10 million, 20 million to buy their votes to join a movement for a better Nigeria. You will say, many will say to hell to Nigeria, I want to cash out and leave this country.
But they don't even pay that much.
Yes.
They don't even pay that much. We are talking of maybe 1,000, 2,000 and stuff like that.
Where I stayed, I think it was like 2 months ago. So they were passing this sheets of paper. It came like being part of a support group. No, not a support group, like all this akawo or something like that.
Okay.
But this savings group. So it was for them to, they were calling on these market women and all of that they should write their PVC number
What?
to support a particular presidential candidate. Yeah, and that they will give them a certain amount of money. So when I saw the sheet of paper, the lady was like, sign and all of that. And then put your number, just put your details and your. I'm like,
Wow.
You are not supposed to give your number to anybody. It's as important as your. To me, it's so important. It's like telling somebody telling me to give them my
Your ATM pin or something.
The lady was like, no, that she herself, that she's for another presidential candidate, but she wants to chop money. I'm like, you are the problem of this nation. You want to take money from another person while you're supporting. Your vote does not count for the other person because they've already you have sold it out already. So I think we as Nigerians, it starts with us. If you demand for your government to have integrity, you have integrity. He that comes to equity must come with clean hands. Are your hands clean? So you don't enough to say, 70 million of us are youths and all of that. They are hungry people, and hungry people want to.
Honestly, that's what I was about to say now, that it's going to be really difficult to convince a hungry person not to take those things. But what we're going to be banking on is this, our 70% were too much. So let's hope that a larger part of that 70% will do the right thing. To encourage the hungry people now to see, to stop being short-sighted and to be able to look beyond those, simple gains or perishable things that you eat and it will end, and see, that there's a greater, advantage of not accepting those things and not allowing it to, affect your vote. So
I don't think we should even wait that far. For those who collected something in 2019, you can see how 2022 is right now.
Exactly.
For those who collected something in 2015, you saw how 2019 was.
Exactly.
So you don't need to be told again, look, this is not the way to go. You can eat a muzzle of garri in 2015. It won't take you through February, March, April in 2015. By 2020, if you thought you were hungry, you've not seen hunger, now the hunger will come for you.
But I think a lot of people are getting wiser.
So yes, because I know some certain class of people in this country when in 2015 we're all about what we could get. But down 2018, 2019, you ask the same person, how far? You say, oh my God, so I like that, and sometimes pain will teach you some lessons. So I'm saying this now because for those who are thinking that, it's time to cash out or get something, it is a very temporal pleasure you get. On the long run, you'll be paying extremely for that little pleasure you think you've gotten. So I would advise, or would like to put that out there. Make that sacrifice. Look away from the 2,500, 3,000
long term
they want to give you, and make this choice that for the long term we can get good health system, we can get good education, we can get good infrastructure, we can be safe. And you never can tell the amount of persons who've lost. We can have safe rail lines, we can have safe airports.
You can even have better transportation.
For those who, you never can tell the amount of price we have paid because you collected 2,000, 3,000 here and there in 2019 or in 2015 as it were. So let that go for that moment. And then for a long time, we can have a life we can call our own. Because right now, it appears we're living in bondage anyway.
Wow. I as a young person, over time we've learned, I personally would have said, just stay on the fence and just watch things play out. Well, as our discussants have said, we can't do that anymore. We are down on the floor. The only way is to fight our way up. So for every young person like us watching, it is time to rise up. Not to take arms, not to be violent, but to have your voice heard. So we are coming together. There's no other option. We have to come together. We have to look beyond our fears, our insecurities, our money we know the wallet. We need to come together. So there's still a lot to come. We're watering the surface. but it's a whole lot series. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about how you're going to vote. Now we've spoken about why you need to come together, why your vote counts. But in the next episode, we're going to talk about how you're going to vote. Getting your PVC. Are you among those that were disenfranchised? Was your registration also classified as invalid? We're going to discuss all this and more. Should you run as a young person? My brother in Canada, how can he be involved? How do we even coordinate this? Is it also going to be like NSAS where it just gets watered down at one point because there was no coordination? What do we do? Stay tuned. We're not done.